Good morning. My name is Tom Stites, and I am your worship associate for this, our congregation's first virtual service. If you are joining us for the first time in these unusual circumstances, you are especially welcome. In the words of welcome every Sunday, we make the observation that ours is a faith that is ever evolving. And today, these words are particularly pertinent. A pandemic is a grim prospect, yet it radiates a special call to us to love one another. It is a call to look out not only for our own safety and that of our loved ones, but also for the safety and support of all people. It is for safety that our beautiful meeting house is closed, and it is for support that we come together as a congregation in this new way. Our building may be closed, but our church and our virtual arms have never been wider open. Every Sunday we say that it is no small thing that we have gathered. This morning, it is a particularly big thing that we have gathered. So let us give ourselves to it. I welcome one and all to our church and our worship service. If you are joining us online, there are links that you can click to see today's order of service and the hymns so that you can sing along. If you joined us from YouTube, the links are just below the live stream in a white box. Please click on More to see them. If you're watching from the homepage at frsuu.org, there are buttons to the right of the TV icon and above the live stream. Thank you. It is good to be together.
It is indeed good to be together. Come one, come all, whoever you are, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. Whatever the state of your heart, heavy, fearful, full of joy, you are welcome. However your body is feeling, feeble, vulnerable, strong, you are welcome. Whatever you make of this day, whatever feeds you, and however hungry you are in body, mind, or spirit, you are welcome here, whoever you are. You are faithfully called to worship.
At this time, I would like to invite forward Karen Young and Rebecca Brodish, the chair and vice chair of the parish board, who will light our chalice and candles of peace. And I invite people at home to light a chalice if you have one, or a candle if one is handy.
Please join us in the words of our chalice lighting printed in your order of service. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Each week, we also light 2 candles of peace, representing 2 places on earth that we lift up and remember as a sacred encounter with our world. There are untold numbers of places on earth that need peace. These 2 we especially hold close in this service and through the week ahead. After each candle is lit, we will speak the words for peace in English, Arabic, and Hebrew. Peace, salam, shalom. Our first candle this morning is lit for lands across this globe that are ravaged with the pandemic of the COVID-19 virus. We grieve with those who have lost their loved ones. We hold in our hearts and our minds those who are most vulnerable. We accept what is being asked of us to do. Peace, salam, shalom. And our second candle this morning is lit for nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and hospitals, where, for the safety of their residents, they are taking the necessary steps of stopping visitors from coming into their facilities. Though we know this is for the good, and as it needs be, we also know that this abrupt cutoff for many residents and their families and friends is especially difficult, including for those in our beloved community. We pray that unexpected and loving connections are made and that hearts are healed as love crosses physical distance. Peace, salam, shalom. Please join now in the opening hymn that is found in your online PDF of music, followed by the affirmation of faith and doxology, which is printed in your online PDF order of service. Let's join together in our affirmation of faith. Again, the words are printed in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
Amen.
Please be seated. And we move now into our time for all ages. So for those watching who are young, young in heart, young in body, young in spirit, gather close. For now is the time we have all been waiting for. Dun, 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 dun.
First step in the nested bolts process involved you all watching from home. Last fall, the first step in the nested bowls process involved you all watching at home. Last fall, 186, almost 200 people from the congregation, including some young people, participated in workshops. In the workshops, you came up with 150 values, 183 highlights about what 183 highlights about FRS that came from stories you told during the workshop, and 441 wishes for what you imagine for the future of FRS. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you all for this contribution. Then the parish board, that's me and Karen Young and a number of other people at church who helped Reverend Rebecca and the other staff lead the church, had a big job to figure out what all of these stories and wishes meant. What were you telling us about the central purpose of FRS and the difference in lives we are called to make? The board collected all the data. That's all the stories, the pictures, the wishes and words you used in the workshop, and we lived with them for several more weeks. Then the board got together for a day-and-a-half-long retreat with Laura, the helper who worked with us, who helped us to distill all of those words into 4 values. Right here. Distill means to boil something down to its essence. You can think about it like chicken soup. We put all of your words and wishes and ideas into a big soup kettle filled to the rim, like the chicken and carrots and onion and celery that you put in a big soup kettle. And then we boiled it down and boiled it until it became a really tasty broth, where you could taste all of those things in every bite. From that, we arrived at 4 values we feel truly express those qualities of this congregation.
And our 4 values, your 4 values, are wonder, authentic connection, love, and courageous action.
After we came up with the values, the board broke into 3 smaller groups, and we worked on creating a mission. We brought these 3 missions together and then worked for a long, long afternoon to arrive at a single mission. Again, it was a little like making soup, boiling all of the ingredients together until we distilled or boiled down the essence of what people seek here at FRS and how they want to live in the world through FRS.
And the mission statement that was indeed the result, the fruit, and the expression of why this beloved congregation is here is this. Come as you are. Journey together in love. Act with courage. Transform our world.
Finally, the board worked on creating the ends. This is the last step in the nested bowls process that Laura was helping with. The ends answer the question, what measurable difference will we make and for whom? Coming up with the ends took the rest of the retreat and 2 more meetings with Laura before we distilled the ends to the version that we're sharing with you right now.
And the ends are: together we, across the lifespan, connect to joy and wonder in diverse worship and music experiences that develop lives of courage, meaning, hope, and love. Articulate our individual and congregational Unitarian Universalist identity, teach it to our children, and live it in the world. Foster an authentic intergenerational church community. Welcome people in all of their diversity and create belonging for one another. Support one another in the joys, sorrows, and transitions of our life's journeys. Work in partnership as individuals and as a congregation to advance justice and put courageous love in service to our community and our world. And finally, honor our FRS and UU heritage as we journey together.
We are so excited to finally share this with you and to create a jumping off point for our future work together. On behalf of the board, thank you. Thank you for supporting this work. Thank you for sharing in this work. Thank you for receiving this work. We are so grateful.
There will be a series of congregational discussions that will be held online where you can offer your thoughts, talk about what sticks with you, what concerns you, what excites you. And we do hope everyone participates. And then at our annual meeting on May 31st, we as a congregation will vote together for this package. Rebecca made this look quite simple and easy, like chicken soup. Actually, I don't make chicken soup, so I don't know how easy it is to make chicken soup, but I can tell you that there was an incredible amount on your part and on the board's part of effort, of open-heartedness, of vision, and of love. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is John Mercer. I'm a lifelong member of this community. In your order of service, it says that the title of this is Stages of Membership, and that's a perfectly good topical title, by which I mean I knew what I wanted to talk about, but I hadn't written it yet. Once I wrote it, I changed the title to That's What It's All About. Here we go. I should mention courage is important. Very important to this talk, coming right after what has just been said. There is an old story within the church about a parishioner who is actively challenged by a risk-taking canvasser, not something we teach in canvassing school. The canvasser said something like, "No, you should be giving it the X level," whatever X was. And the parishioner said, "Oh, you mean real money?" And then indeed, pledged real money. That was a parishioner already in a new stage of church life, and a canvasser sensitive enough to perceive that all that was lacking was a pledge reflecting the stage. One of the pleasures of growing old is that you have a longer and longer history behind yourself, and in that longer history, you are likely to see patterns that had previously eluded you, though you are the one who made the patterns. For instance, I had never considered how important geography was to me, specifically the geography of Newburyport and its environs. After all, I never left it except to attend college. Of course, I was aware I was where I always had been, but I didn't until recently understand the strength of my embeddedness. Looking back over this long life, my place of dwelling looks like a plan. But it wasn't. It was simply what happened over time as the days passed one after the other. And my relationship with this church looks like a plan too, a plan of three separate pieces: making the connection, the connection, becoming useful, and making commitment. 1, 2, 3, like that, over 45 years. Of course, I had gone to church school here, and after age 12, I was in the church. But after age 12, I was in the church only for marriages, funerals, and candlelight services. So that period of youth doesn't seem to me to be any part of the plan that I perceive. Part 1 began with my marriage to Florence in this very room, and our attendance at church derived primarily from her Episcopalian habit of church attendance. In that 10-year period, we attended regularly, took part in social life, and had few connections to the work of the church. My guess is that we averaged a pledge of around 1% of our income per year. In the next period, perhaps another 10 years, we became more involved in the volunteer and committee structure of the church and learned a good deal about its various needs. I estimate that our pledge rose to 5% of our income, not all at once, but steadily over time. The last stage of our development began when I was asked to lead the search committee that brought Harold Babcock to the church. To do that work, I had to learn much more about the church and its needs. And as part of that process, we as a ministerial search committee gave assurances to Harold that he would not be overwhelmed by administrative work. These assurances ultimately led to my becoming church administrator here for 11 years. That kind of personal commitment finally led to much greater financial commitment, to a percentage well above the tithing amount. During one of those years, our tax preparer was visibly startled by our giving. And when thinking about that in the context of the range of churches, I understand his response. So the question I pose to you today is this: after thinking over where you are in the stages of commitment to this church, does your pledge match your commitment? When I started thinking about these ideas, it was not the 1, 2, 3 mentioned, or the stages of connecting, becoming useful, and committing. No. I was thinking about the third stage as wholehearted, whole self, which eventually reminded me, as it must, of the hokey pokey, the last verse of which is, "You put your whole self in." I put my whole self in, and in doing so, have sometimes startled myself. That's what it's all about.
What a wonderful lead-in to the news that this is the time in our service when the offering will be gratefully received. You can use the links on your screen to make your online Sunday donation or your pledge or both. You may text the word "Give FRSUU" to a number. I'm going to say these things again. And make a pledge through text. You may do these things through the offertory music, but don't feel pressured to finish before the music does. And here's another option. You can write a check, a tangible check, with the word "collection" in the menu line, or the memo line, and then mail it to FRS. We will still be here opening the mail. Half of today's unpledged cash will go to our collection for a cause for this month, which happens to be our denomination, the Unitarian Universalist Association. The UUA will apply all that we give to a special national project called UU the Vote, which is devoting to getting the most people possible to register to vote and then make it to the polls on Election Day. The First Religious Society is planning to join this campaign locally, so we invite you to please be generous. Now, here are the instructions. If you have joined us through YouTube, you have probably already found the links. And if you have joined us through our website, I think they will be to the buttons that go to the links are to the right of the TV icon and above the live stream. We also have some words about the pledge, and our board chair, Karen Young, and Rebecca Brodish will come forward now.
So the parish board intended to be here today, physically here today on this Giving Sunday. But instead, Rebecca Brodish and I and Forrest are here to represent the board and its commitment to 100% participation in our annual campaign and in the future stewardship of our community. Please join the journey.
Please join me now in reading responsively these words from the UU poet Patrick Murphin, which is in your order of service. We gather as leaders, as servants.
We gather as ears, as voices.
We gather as memory, as hope.
We gather as family, as pilgrims.
We gather as faithful, as skeptics.
We gather as objects, as subjects.
We gather as wisdom, as folly.
We gather as action, as reflection.
We gather as many, as one.
As
As
we
we
are,
we shall be. As we serve, so shall we lead.
Our prayer this morning are the words of Unitarian Universalist Reverend Lynn Unger. I will read her poem, speak a few words extemporaneously, and then we will sit together, all of us, in 2 minutes of silence. I will ring the bell at the conclusion of our communal meditation. I invite you now to close your eyes. Feel the chair you sit in, the ground you stand in, or the floor that you lie on as you hear these words. Pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel. Cease from buying and selling. Give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing. Pray. Touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has become clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. Spirit of love that is ever present, that moves in us and among us, that is always here lest we forget, lest we fall prey to fear or believe we are alone. Love now, make yourself felt. Hold each and every terrified person, lonely person, hurting person. Soften their fear, appease their heart, move in them so they feel you. Feel the love that is so real, so much a part of us, that we can almost forget it is true.
Good morning. Last week's service, as I listened to Steve and Eileen Costello talk about what our church means to them, I was brought to tears. Their sharing was so heartfelt and so passionate and sincere. I was struck deeply. I was perhaps not surprisingly most moved to hear them talk about their experiences with our youth, particularly on justice learning trips to Pine Ridge and the U.S.-Mexico border. I've been blessed to share those experiences with Steve and Eileen, with Becky, Mike, Ed, and of course with our youth. Those trips are nothing less than extraordinary. To be a witness to our youth's engaging struggle with justice issues, burgeoning awareness of their own identities, their compassion, depth, willingness to be vulnerable. It is all so humbling and heartening. Given this, I suppose it makes complete sense that I'm deeply moved by the phrase in our new mission statement, journey together in love. My time here at the First Religious Society has been a series of journeys, both literal and figurative. There have been the journeys in which I have boarded a plane or hopped in a car or walked to Market Square, and alongside any number of you have borne witness to the lives and stories of folks who are marginalized, or have picked up tools to offer service in whatever way I was asked, or have opened up to new learnings. Those are the literal journeys. There are other, less concrete journeys as well, journeys that occur within these walls, journeys that happen when we're changed by another's story, or when we're moved to tears by a piece of music or a prayer, or when we realize that we're seen and heard. These are journeys that take us deeper and deeper toward our true selves. And I've experienced more of this type of journey here at the FRS than I could ever name. Together, they've created one bigger journey, a journey that has transformed and shaped me and has helped me step more into my authentic self. This May, I will have been a professional religious leader here at the FRS for 20 years. In that time, I've been a part of the congregation's journey as well. Our journey in the last 2 decades has taken us through the trauma of 9/11 and the resulting quest for connection and meaning. It's taken us through a couple of wars, untold shootings and hate crimes, an increasing climate crisis, an unrelenting diminishment of human rights, a formerly unimaginable reliance on technology, and arguably the demise of human decency. It's staggering to think of what this congregation has lived through in the past 20 years, and how we've grown and changed and persevered and thrived through all of it. Our journey has taken us through a major building project. Many of you remember the days when there was no lower meeting house and everything outside of worship, including staff offices, were in the parish hall. It's taken us through a falling down steeple, changes in our governance structure, staff and minister transitions, steady membership growth, steady growth and then decline of our young church, conflicts over the weathercock, staffing, and money in general. Each marker along the journey has served to make us stronger and more fully who we are as the First Religious Society, who we are meant to be. Each step has been precious and important. So I guess what I love so much about the fact that journeying together in love is part of our stated mission. It is this. We're acknowledging that we're always moving forward, moving more into that beloved community that we're called to be, through it all. Through conflict, through mistakes, through world events that make us feel weary to our bones, through just the messiness that is inherent in community, we affirm that we're always moving forward. We affirm that who we are now is not the final stop. We affirm that just as we as individuals never stop growing and evolving, neither do we as a community. To journey together in love. Love is patient, love is kind. You know this from Corinthians, right? Love does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. We will journey together in love. We will keep on moving, keep on getting closer and closer to who we're meant to be, through the good and bad, and we'll travel patiently, rejoicing with the truth, and we will always persevere.
Thank you, Julie. And thank all of you who participated in helping to articulate the values, mission, and ends of our beloved congregation. And if you are listening for the first time today, I invite you to listen closely and reflect in your own life upon your values, your stated or unstated mission in life. And if you are normally here in the pews, I invite you to do the same. As I talk for a few minutes about this congregation and our beloved journey together, I invite us all to also reflect upon our own lives. What is it? What are the values, if you were to state 3 or 4, no more, to which you return again and again to make your decisions? Prioritize your time, your energy, your focus, your money. And what is your mission? Why are you here? And whose lives are different, and how because of it? So as we hold those questions, I'll reflect also upon this special, sacred, beautiful place, which we are all a part of, and which, if you've just joined, we hope you too will become a part. Again, thank you all for believing in and caring about our congregation, this congregation, and its future. Thank you for loving one another, listening to one another, sharing your truths, your stories, and your dreams and wishes, 441 wishes for our beloved community. Our next step is to trust and embrace this work we did together, to walk together boldly with courageous love into all that that love is going to call us to be as individuals and as a liberal religious community at this time, in this place. Here at the First Religious Society, Unitarian Universalist in Newburyport, Massachusetts, we value wonder. Wonder. Authentic connection. Love and courageous action. Those are rich words, and they are our words. I have been leaning upon them heavily over the last several weeks. I turn to them in considering how to respond to the letter to the editor that defamed our banner on the front of the church. And again, in deciding how to respond to the coronavirus and its threats. Both times I asked myself, what response will uphold wonder, mystery, and beauty, rather than give in to fear and hatred? What nurtures authentic connection, neither cutting off or blaming? What does it mean to be loving in these situations? Love isn't always the trendiest thing to do. Love is about values, not popularity. What is the courageous action to take? What works toward justice, taking everyone into account, and seeks to protect especially those who are vulnerable or marginalized? Wonder, authentic connection, love, courageous action. We will return to those values again and again in small ways and big. For our values guide our priorities and our decisions. Values form the scaffolding of our days. And then we have the proposed mission statement, which again explains why we are here and whose lives are going to be different because of it. Come as you are. Come as you are. Journey together in love. Act with courage. Transform our world. The statement itself is a journey. It leads with our commitment to openness and inclusivity. Come as you are, whoever you are. Whoever you love, whatever you believe, come. Here, we journey together in love. Bold, embracing, gentle love. The doctrine of this church. Love with room enough for everyone. For laughter and tears. For contemplation and justice. Then, as we come together and journey together, we are called to act with courage. We will learn all we can, use both reason and faith, and we will act with courage. We will not be perfect. We will make mistakes. We will need to forgive each other and ourselves. We will also be changed for the better for doing this together. Our ends emerge out of the mission and encompass all of us. They are a whole bunch of both ands. They are also focused, not attempting to be everything to everybody. They are not cookie cutter or just any Unitarian Universalist church. They are us. Hear us, see us, imagine us, feel us, as together across the lifespan we connect to joy and wonder in diverse worship and music experiences that develop lives of courage, meaning, and hope, and love. Articulate our individual and congregational Unitarian Universalist identity, teach it to our children, and live it in the world. As we foster together an authentic intergenerational church community, welcome people in all their diversity, and create belonging for one another. As together we support one another in the joys, sorrows, and transitions of our life's journeys. As we work in partnership, as individuals and as a congregation, to advance justice and put courageous love in service to our community and our world. Honor our FRS and UU heritage as we journey together. When we shared those in the staff meeting just a few days ago, for they didn't know any much sooner than you all did, you could have heard a pin drop. It was spectacular. They are all I could have asked for and more, said one staff person. I feel proud, hopeful, rooted. They are us, both who we've been, who we are, and who we are becoming, said another staff. How about you? I wish we were together here in person so I could see your faces, feel and return your hugs, answer your questions. I wish I could delight in your responses as you take these in. I can just imagine for some of you the furrow of your brows, the crinkle of your noses, and for others your fist pumps in the air. I wish I could hear your amens. We will have time for all of that and more. We want to hear from you. We look forward to grappling together with you and discerning what living into these words will really mean for us, because that's what it's about. Susan B. Anthony, who was born a Quaker and later became a Unitarian, and was one of the most important leaders in the women's rights movement of the 19th century, said this: cautious, careful people, always casting about to preserve their reputation and social standing, can never bring about a reform. Now, I'm not calling for a reform necessarily, or am I? We'll see. I am calling for us to come as you are, journey together in love, act courageously, and see and experience how we transform our world within ourselves, among ourselves, and beyond these walls. Amen. Let's join together in our closing hymn, printed in your order of service, number 121, We'll Build a Land.
Let's join our voices now in the unison benediction. The words are printed in the order of service. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. And my friends, as we gather here in this virtual connection, I invite you actually to take the hands of those who are not next to you in body, but who live within your heart. Take the hands of your families and friends near and far, those living and those dead. Take the hands of those who need them most. Pour out like living waters love. Pour out companionship. Pour out creativity, connection, strength. Pour out the connection that is stronger than anything, that is always here, that is always within us, among us, between us, and beyond us. Be the love that we are. Be the peace that we need. Seek to restore justice every day. And know this, we are never, ever alone. Go in peace, my friends, and return again in great joy. Amen, and blessed be.
Amen.